If a builder offers to pay your closing costs or lower your interest rate, are you really saving money or are you just paying for it in a different way? If you've ever walked into a model home and thought, this feels too good to be true, then come here. We need to talk because this video is just for you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kay, and on this channel, I give you the real keys to home ownership by breaking down every part of the home buying process so that your first buy is the right one. If you're ready to start your home buying journey today, I do offer one-on-one consultations where we build a plan that works for your goals, your budget, and your life. The link for that is in the description below. Now for the rest of you, stay with me. Let's get into it. I want to start by saying this. Wanting a new construction or new build home is not wrong of you as a buyer. I understand wanting the clean kitchen, the lower rate, the helping with your closing costs, the warranties, just having an overall new home with the reputation that things shouldn't break down as soon as if you had bought a pre-existing home. It's brand new, it hasn't been used, everything should be in the best shape that it's gonna be. And that makes sense, especially if rent is going up and you're worried about paying student loans or paying your car off and you're raising kids, trying to handle all of the things that life has to throw at you. You're just wanting something stable. I want you to keep in mind, incentives are not free. Nothing in this life is free, and builder incentives are not the exception. Now, by no means does that mean that the builder is evil. You as the buyer just have to understand what the trade-off is.
Builders are not giving you a deal. Let's talk about why that $20,000 incentive they're giving you isn't quite what it seems. Incentive they're giving you sounds real good until you realize they probably overpriced that house by $40K. That ain't a deal. That's a trap. Here's what's really going on. Builders control the price. They build it, they list it, and they appraise it using their preferred appraiser. So when they say $20K towards closing costs or a rate buy down, in reality, they've already priced that into their inflated purchase price. And on top of that, they usually make you use their preferred lender to get it, which means you might not be getting the best deal on your financing either. You're getting whatever helps them sell that house the fastest. Oh, and that lower interest rate they're dangling in front of you like a hungry dog, that might be just temporary. It could just be a 2-1 buy down that makes the home look more affordable now. Then what happens in a couple years when the rate jumps back up and the property taxes get reassessed and you get smacked in the face with a payment that is way higher than you originally planned? Builder ain't gonna be there. Their lender sure ain't gonna return your calls. And you could be stuck holding the bag. They ain't doing you a favor. They ain't giving you a deal. In reality, they're just trying to move their inventory before the market shifts again. If you're thinking about new construction, please get a second opinion from an outside lender before you sign anything.
Now, I'm not going to go so far as to calling it a trap, but that's for you to decide. Here's what I want you to remember. Builders are businesses, and businesses are in business to make money. And the only way for a builder to do that is they have to move their inventory. When homes are just sitting on the market, they're losing money. So instead of dropping the price on paper, they offer to help with closing costs, down payment, or buying down your interest rate. I know as a buyer, you may be asking, why not just lower the price? And the reason for that is because when they lower the price of one home, that affects all the other homes in the neighborhood. It affects future sales and appraisals, not only for the builder who are trying to close out that neighborhood, but for the people who are moving into that neighborhood whenever they get ready to sell. So their solution is, instead of lowering the sticker price, they just move money around. Say if a home is listed for $350,000 and they're willing to offer you $20,000 in incentives. That money has to come from somewhere. It's baked into the numbers, and it's either your responsibility or the responsibility of your real estate partner or lender partner or whoever to find where it's baked in at. Now, that does not automatically mean that you're overpaying, but it does mean that you should ask this question. Would I rather have a lower purchase price or a lower monthly payment right now? And that answer depends on you and what your plan is. I have seen plenty of buyers be very excited about the interest rate that they got. Now, it ended up working out for them because they were only in the home for 2 or 3 years. Lowering that rate was beneficial for their situation. But I have also seen buyers who have planned to stay in that home for 10 years. For them, lowering the price may have been the stronger move long term. Either way you go, this is why it is so important for you to have a strategy before you even walk into a sales center. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to fall in love with the kitchen, the backyard, the house overall, and all that strategy and logic that you had goes out the window.
All these new home buyers that are being wooed by the builders. So I see 499 offered from the builders, and it's like buying a brand new car. You go to the car lot and 0% financing, you lost a good chunk of your equity the moment you sign that piece of paper and drive it off the lot. It happens in new homes too. New homes depreciate. All that stuff they put in there is brand new. It's at its highest cost possible, and the builders are incentivizing you to do that. Well, those interest rates don't come for free. They do what's called builder forwards. I was talking to someone and they just did a builder forward for a big nationwide builder to get the rate into the fours, and it cost them 10 points to buy that. That's 10% of the loan amount. So you're talking a $400,000 loan. That builder paid $40,000 outside of closing because they can't go in and say, I'm going to give you $40,000 in incentives because the lending regulations stop the builder from giving you that much money. But why did they take that 40 grand and do that? Well, they could have lowered the price of the home and given you a market rate, and you would have been better off. Your payment would have been higher. And so they figured it out. We gave the buyer what they wanted. It's not what's best for them, but they gave them what they wanted. What they really should want is the lower purchase price, not the lower interest rate. So then you could go buy that $400,000 home for $360,000, and maybe your rate's in the sixes instead of in the fours, and your payment might be $150 more a month. But when the rates do cycle and you do have that opportunity to refinance that home, you'll be able to drop the payment to even lower of what you got from that builder originally, and you'll have a heck of a lot more equity because the price of the home has gone up, or the value of that home has gone up, instead of taking that depreciation hit because you got the lower interest rate. Now the home's worth less, and then you got to build your way back up.
The idea that you lose equity the moment you sign for that house sounds very scary. But all equity is the difference between what the home is worth and what you owe. So if you buy at the top of the market, meaning the home is as high priced as it's going to be, and then prices soften, meaning that purchase price decreases, then yes, you potentially could owe more than what someone would have paid if they were going to buy your house or that house that day. But this principle is not just for new construction. This is for any home in a shifting market. So here's the bigger question you need to ask. How long do you plan on staying? If you buy and sell in 2 years, then small changes matter more. If you stay 7 to 10 years, then time usually smooths those things out. The problem is not new construction, new builds, the builder. The issue lies with you as a buyer going in and not understanding what your time frame is.
I just met with a couple today who were crazy excited about this low interest rate they saw advertised on a new construction, and I just felt compelled to make this video while I'm watching the football game because I hate to be the one to say it, but that low rate isn't free, and most buyers don't even realize it until it's too late. Builders can't lower prices without hurting the neighborhood, so they don't cut prices. They buy down the rate and sometimes cover closing costs instead with what's called an incentive. So that 4% rate you're seeing, the builder may have paid $40,000, $50,000 to make it look that good. And yes, the home still appraises and the appraisal supports the price for financing with the incentives included, but incentives don't always equal resale value. So if you sell early, the market may not pay back that number without those perks. Now, builder deals aren't bad. You just need to understand them. So my question for y'all is lower price or lower rate? Comment which one you choose.
Builders do not want to drop the base purchase price because that becomes the comparison for every other house in that neighborhood, which affects the builder's profits. So instead, the builder gives you incentives that are tied to their preferred lender. And sometimes the builder's lender really does have strong rates because they control the whole process from building the home all the way to when you close on your loan. Other times, the incentives only work if you use their lender, and in that exchange, you may be giving up your flexibility. And this is where, as buyers, I feel you guys, because you may be feeling stuck. You're thinking, if I don't use this lender, I'm going to lose the deal. But if I do use this lender, how do I make sure they're giving me what's in my best interest? And the answer to that is that neither one of those things are always true. You have to be able to negotiate smart, and that's why it's so important that you have your own representation before you go into a new build sales center, and have someone that speaks that language and is able to explain things to you and stick up for you in ways that you won't know how to negotiate for yourself. There's one more layer to this that I want to address that most people don't even think about, but it can play a major role in how this house is going to either be an advantage or disadvantage to you. So what I mean when I say that is, let's say you buy a home. Everything made sense at the time. The incentives helped, the payment works, and everything felt really good. But 2 or 3 years later, life happens. You get a new job. You realize you need more space. Or you just decide that this isn't where you want your forever home to be. So you decide to sell. Now, here's where things can get tricky, because you're not just selling your home, but you also could potentially be competing with the builder. If the builder is still building in your same neighborhood, they're still offering brand new homes, closing cost incentives, rate buy downs, and warranties. And now a buyer has a choice. They can buy your home, which has been lived in for 2 or 3 years, or they can walk into the model home down the street and get incentives that you're not able to offer at that same level. So what happens? You may have to lower your price more than expected. You may have to offer more in concessions, or you might just have to sit on the market longer than you had planned. And this is a part that could really hurt people. If the builder is still setting the tone in that neighborhood, you don't control that. They do. Now, this is not me telling you to not buy new at all, ever. It just means you need to ask this question before you commit. Is this neighborhood almost complete, or am I in the early build cycle? Because being early can be great for customization, but when it's time to sell, it could mean more competition for you. So, here are 3 questions that I tell my clients to ask. Number 1, what is the purchase price of that home without any incentives? That's your baseline. That's where you start. Then number 2, I want you to ask, what is the purchase price of that home with incentives? When you have those 2 numbers, you can find the difference in purchase price between those 2, if any. You can calculate your incentives, and you can see if that deal is worth it or not. If they've actually given you an incentive, or they've just taken the incentive they gave you and tacked it on to the purchase price or the back end of your loan amount. And number 3, I want you to ask, how long do I realistically plan on staying here? Because that is going to impact which strategy you use when purchasing a new construction home. If the builder's offering you a rate buy down that saves you $400 a month for the first 2 years, that might be perfect for my first time home buyers out there, or a young couple who may just be starting out. Or if you're planning to refinance in 2 years anyway, that incentive could work out for you as well. But if you're stretching your budget to qualify and relying on a temporary rate, that's very risky. Builder incentives are not scams. They're tools, but tools are only helpful if you know how to use them. Do not walk in a new build home or a new construction sales center focused on the free upgrades. Walk in focused on the total picture. Your monthly payment, total price, taxes, homeowner's insurance, and how long you plan on staying there. Your dream of becoming a homeowner should never start with confusion, but more like the 3 Ps. Create a plan so that you're prepared to be proactive when it's your time to buy a home. If you're feeling overwhelmed by new builds, incentives, or any mixed advice that you might be hearing online, that's normal. There's so much noise out here, and that's why it's so important for you to partner with somebody that you're comfortable with and that you trust to walk you through the process, explain to you what's going on, and know that they have your best interest at heart. So, if you're ready to sit down and build a plan around your numbers and your goals, I do offer one-on-one consultations. I break everything down in plain language and create a strategy that is perfect just for you. The link for that is in my description below. And for the rest of you who are still learning, keep watching the channel, but most importantly, these next 2 videos, because there's so much more for you to understand before you start on your home buying journey. Remember, when you know better, you buy smarter. Until next time, see you in the next one.